All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Gifty from Baller Mom, and today I have another special guest, Drew, and I'm waiting for him to join us, and we'll connect. He is a founder of Top Tier Toronto Hoops, and it's a very good new club or league, and that's been doing amazing within the Toronto basketball industry. So I would like to say hello to everybody that's actually coming back in and joining. Sorry, I'm 2 minutes behind. I have to be on time here. And we're going to talk a lot about how it started, what's going on with it, current situation, plans after COVID, life before COVID, and things that they are doing to help our students and athletes, especially within the Toronto basketball team. So give me a second where I am going to now join with, and Coach wants to see it. Please accept and let me know. Hello.
Hello, nice to
Good
meet
evening. How are you?
you. I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, good. Happy Thursday,
Happy
sunny.
Thursday. The weather's beautiful. It's a good Thursday.
It is. It's like that we have to be on timeout, but it's such a beautiful weather too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I call these lockdown timeout. It's like the never-ending timeout for adults.
Well, I'm just hoping that it's over with soon. I think we're all tired of it
I've been over it for a
since it
while.
started.
Yeah, since it started. Yeah, since it started. You know what? Since the NBA shut down last March or so,
Yeah,
that's when it's like, oh, okay, all right, can we get back into life now? So
yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's weird because every region has their own different rules and regulations.
Yeah,
But for us, it's hitting us here in Toronto pretty hard,
yeah. I
and
know.
it's just hard. It's
I'm
hard,
actually
but
I'm actually surprised because normally Toronto, Ontario, Canada is normally good with like world situations. We're pretty good at handling things, and
I
right now
agree.
we're behind, which is weird, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it's hard to see though because it's like actually the other day I was out grocery shopping. I'm like, oh, so I could be out here feeding myself, but I can't go anywhere else. Like the logic behind it, I know it's a serious thing, but it
Yeah.
also makes you wonder a bit too, right? And
Yeah.
it's
Oh, for
hard.
sure. For sure.
As
For sure.
being sports family, being used to go to go to go to go, and all of a sudden you have to just pause and it's like, what do you do, right?
Exactly. I mean, for us, we were never home. Now we're home every day. So it's something, it's the adjustment that we got to get used to, right? Even the kids
Yeah,
are home every
yeah,
day.
exactly. Yeah, especially for the kids. Yeah. So which is why I wanted to reach out to you and get to know a little bit more about Top Tier Hoops. Because last fall you hosted a very well organized, even during lockdown, locked in, open, whatever, all the protocols were followed so well. It had a great
Thank you.
turnout. It was well organized and everything. And then, of course, we had to cut down again. So
Yeah.
I wanted to reach out and say, how did that start and lead into even the tournament that happened? And also, once we're beyond, and I keep saying, everybody keeps saying normalcy. There is not going to be any normalcy. But post COVID, which is PC, because I call it BC and PC. Um,
Yeah.
what would be, what are you hoping or planning to do? So anyone else that's watching that says, during this lockdown, my league, or I want to get my kids back into basketball, I want them to get active because we've been home, solid for so long. They can say,
Yes.
you know what, I want to reach out to Coach Andrew. I want to reach out to Top Tier Hoop and make sure that I'm with them because I believe in this organization. I believe in this league. So
Really
that's my
appreciate
little
that.
bit feel about it. But without me talking, if you can introduce yourself for everyone that's watching. Some may already know you, but those that will watch later, so they'll know who's Coach Andrew and what is Top Tier Toronto.
Okay, so a little bit about me. Well, of course, my name is Andrew. I've been coaching now for quite some time. I basketball is a big thing in our lives. I'm a father of three boys, and a husband to Ashley, who's also very involved in the basketball
Shout
community.
out to Ashley.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Ashley. And I do have another job. Like I'm a general contractor and plumber by trade. But if I could be full-time basketball and generate an income, that would be my dream.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's good. And you know what? I think that based on what you're saying, it all comes from passion, which
Oh,
is awesome
absolutely.
because you
Absolutely.
have to love what you do.
Yeah.
And when you see the results coming out, or especially the kids that you've been doing, like your team has been doing, I'm not going to give away too much, but what you've been doing, like even the virtual aspect of the trading and
Yeah.
positive post encouragement, it makes you feel like you're not really alone, even if you're not fully with your team, which I think is an
Absolutely.
amazing thing to do.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, I know the name has Toronto in it, but do you only cater to just athletes or families within the Toronto area?
I mean, the name definitely does have Toronto in it, but the main name of our program is Top Tier Hoops. We're
Okay.
currently based out of Toronto. We started out in Toronto, but we're willing to travel, and we've been setting up shop in other places in the GTA as well. But yeah, currently we're based out of Toronto, hence the name Toronto Top.
Okay. Great. And
But
so
we're willing to go anywhere that people are
I
playing
don't
basketball, anywhere that kids are playing basketball. That's what we're
anywhere.
looking to do. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Which I think is beautiful because sports has no boundaries, pretty much, right?
Exactly.
If
Exactly. Yeah.
anything, we've learned that. That's what's been one of the entertainment and that sort of has kept us all together during our timeouts.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, when it comes to the COVID aspect of it, what has been the hardest for your league, yourself, your family, um, coming from a sports background?
I mean, the hardest thing by far has been not being able to be interactive with the kids and actually be in the gym with the team, with the parents. Through this time, we kind of built up like it's like a family. You know what I mean? And we
Hmm.
miss each other. We wish we can be in the gym.
Yeah.
The hands-on is very important. Even like the kids getting together and seeing each other and being
Hmm.
able to interact with each other, all of that is missed. Every single aspect is missed, so
Yeah.
that's why we're trying to find other alternatives to keep this family close and to keep everybody together.
I agree. And so, what are some of the things that you've done? I know some, but if just for anyone looking to, or even any other leagues watching and saying, well, what are we missing? How else can we keep our unit together, even from a distance? What are some of the things that you've been doing?
Well, I think the first thing is, with all the stuff that's going on, the first thing is to educate yourself on what you can do and what is allowed with all these restrictions,
Mm-hmm.
because there is space to do some things. I
Yeah.
mean, like when we first started the program, we were in lockdown, but what we did was we outsourced gyms, we outsourced outdoor basketball courts and nets because we
Mm-hmm.
knew that kids were allowed to play outside.
Yeah.
So as long as we're doing things within the COVID restrictions and the guidelines, I mean, and the kids are safe, that's the most important thing. And there are ways around
Exactly.
it. You just have to be aware, educate yourself on all the restrictions, and then find a way to get everybody together within those restrictions.
Exactly. So with that, when you are able to get together, have you seen any change in the athletes, after staying home for so long, some of them even doing online school, not much to get out physical. So as a coach and as a trainer, um, did you have to pivot how you were getting them to get conditioned and get back, their bone moving?
I mean, to be honest with you, we got a pretty good group. We have some very committed parents, so they kept the kids on track. Even if I was unable to be there and motivate them, the
Mm-hmm.
parents in our group were doing an exceptional job motivating the kids and even motivating me to
Yeah.
continue doing things for our team, right? So I think we've been on track. I don't see us falling off track at all. I feel like we're just gonna continue to push and continue to get better. As far as changes within the kids, what I have seen actually when we're able to get together, I see a lot more enthusiasm. I see
Good.
the kids are um, like really ready to get started. If I blow the whistle, everybody's listening because they don't
Wow.
want to miss a second. They know that they've been in lockdown. They know they've been in the house for so long. So once you
Yeah.
have them in the gym, they're ready to go, which is a great thing, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
time off has been good and it's been bad in that sense.
Yes.
But yeah, I've
I
seen them.
think
As far as no, luckily nobody's gained too much weight or anything like that. Everybody's still keeping active, so
it's
we've
just the
been trying
parents that's been gaining, I'm sure, right? Because yeah.
oh, I could say as a parent, definitely we're eating a little bit too
I'm
much.
there.
I should be I
Yeah.
should be I should be interactive with the Zoom meetings as well. I gotta lose a little bit of weight myself.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's it is hard, like you said, because we're so used to being on the road when you have to pause. It's like, oh, what do I do? And of course, we all went through the big gulp of I'm gonna work, do homework, home exercise, and then you're like, okay, there's nothing going on, and it's up and down. But you know what? At the end, we're breathing. I think that's what matters. You're
That's the most
breathing,
important
kids are
thing.
happy,
Yeah.
and you mentioned something about the parents aspect of it, and the parent support aspect of it. Have you seen a change in the number of parents who are coming in? Like, with all the restrictions, it's real, and some, regardless of it, might be nonchalant to it, and some would be like really serious because it's affected them. So how do you deal with that aspect for any parents who may be a little bit, they still want their kids to be active, but
Yeah.
they're still like, I don't know if this is the right way. Like, how do you deal with that?
Well, I mean, we've experienced that for sure. We've had some parents that are willing to, get in the gym, and then we have some parents that are, I mean, rightfully so, they're overly cautious, and
Mm-hmm.
that's perfectly fine. And
Mm-hmm.
how we would cater to them is simply making them feel comfortable, right? I give them all the
Yeah.
information. I make sure I let them know that, hey, we're abiding by all these guidelines. We do our own sanitization of basketballs and the players' hands before and after every drill. We literally
Wow.
do as much as we can to make the parents that are cautious comfortable, right? And luckily,
Yeah.
we haven't had any in-house cases or anything like that, so we've been very blessed.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah,
I
thank
think that's
goodness
one
for
of
that.
the reasons why it makes your team keep coming back, because of all the precautions that you put into place, and
Yeah,
you're consistently communicating with them, which for me is a key factor, especially during this downtime.
definitely,
Everybody keeps talking about the athletes have to keep being active, but I also say the clubs, the leagues, the coaches also have to be active, because when it's said
absolutely.
and done, and we are coming back to post-COVID, it's those that were consistently checking on you. You remember that more than the
Yeah,
person that kind of was like, where are you? Where am I? Not to be judgmental, because they could be going through their own thing too.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
The goal, like you said, is to grow the business and expand it and be into other regions and be a travel team or anything like that. Keeping
Oh,
that
most definitely,
in the loop, yeah,
most
makes it
definitely.
really, and I think kudos to your team for keep doing that. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Um, and I think that's one of the questions I had was what makes you different, but you pretty much answered it, because being, that is one way of definitely being different, keeping them alert and up to date of everything that's going on, and not so much of what's going on CP24, but what's going on in real life.
Exactly.
And so to keep life going, because if you watch that channel, you're just,
No, you don't. You don't. If you can't watch that too much, you'll lose it a
it,
bit. It's a little
you're,
depressing to watch the news at this point.
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree. I agree. One thing that you did do though during your tournament was you also raised awareness, and I noticed that a lot from your feeds and posts that you do provide a lot of information to make it more inclusive. And one of it was the Black Lives Matter. I believe you had the T-shirt, and recently you did one supporting female athletes. So what are just from a dad's perspective, because you're a dad of boys, I'm a mom of two boys, and with all the social injustice and social awakening or wokeness that has been going on,
yeah.
how has that been affecting you, your league, your family, or anything like that, and how you continue to guide it into the sports world, so that it's not just being an athlete, but also building that awareness of things that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first thing is, um, again, they are student athletes, right? So you want to make sure that they're aware of the things that are going on. Of course, with their parents' discretion, of course, you don't just want to go and tell other people's kids about certain situations that are going on. But if I speak solely for my children, what I do is I definitely make them aware of the situation. I wouldn't necessarily say I dumb it down for them, but I do I don't fully expose them to everything because, again, the kids in our group currently, they're very young. And I do feel as though during this COVID situation, something that these kids have never experienced before, and even as parents, we've never experienced a situation like this. I don't want to bombard them with a whole bunch of things right now. You know, they're already dealing with lockdown. They're already dealing with this whole COVID situation that they probably don't know too much about. And now we have, you know, like all these social injustices that we're being more made aware of because of social media and because we're in the house and we have nothing to do. You know, I don't shield them from everything, but I do pick and choose what I should inform them on and what I should kind of wait for when it, exactly till they're a little bit older to understand, because you know how kids are. You give them one answer and they have 10 questions for the one answer. It gets deeper and deeper and deeper. So you got to kind of know when to you know, just give them a bit and just take your time with it. But at the same time, letting them know the importance of all these things that are happening currently.
Exactly. And I think you touch on a good point, making sure that it's age appropriate, because
Absolutely.
I wouldn't want to talk to a 5-year-old about certain words that comes out that, you know, it's not right. You got to explain to them in a certain way that, hey, when you see so and so, you know, don't assume this or be nice type of thing. Versus, let's say, a 16 or 17-year-old, you know, conversation. So you made a good point in making sure that it's age. And even for us adults, there's just certain things that you want to engage yourself with, and some you just want to have your mental peace. Right?
Absolutely.
we can only take so much just to be able to do it. But throwing back to the social aspect of it, when you had the Black Lives Matter aspect of it on your T-shirt, and it was part of that your good promotion for the tournament. When I saw that, I felt like, okay, this is one organization that is standing up for everyone. And when I came there, it was diverse, which definitely shows all of what Canada is, what Toronto is.
Absolutely.
Like it's everywhere. So in some ways, I feel like this is beautiful because it's not just geared to one particular culture. It's inclusive of everyone. What would you say to any other parents who may find, you know, a little bit uneasy with this? Like, I don't want to feel like I'm picking sides. I don't want to feel like I'm saying something that I'm not comfortable with. But I still want to say, like, you know, I want my kid to be part of the team, but I don't know if I want them to wear that shirt. I do want them, like, you know, that little iffy on it. How would you explain that to a parent who goes through that mental struggle that they want to support, but it's not as verbally as I guess some people are willing to do it?
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. I would be lying if I said it didn't cross my mind when we created the T-shirts, that some people may not want their children wearing the shirts for whatever reason. It definitely crossed my mind. But I'll be completely honest with you. This is something that I feel very strongly about. You know, and as the director of the program, I thought it was actually a very good thing to do. I don't think. I think there would be more people that would be willing to wear the shirt as opposed to people not wanting to wear the shirt. So and again, I feel very strongly about it. So it was something that we were going to do, and it didn't take too much thought. I mean, I spoke with Ashley about it. She agreed, and that was about it. I probably just asked her. I don't think I asked anybody else.
Well, she is the boss, so you have to go ahead.
Exactly. And I know our parents are very cool, and I know our parents are for the movement as well. So you know, if you're not on board, I mean, you could see what we're doing, and you can see what type of family aspects we have over here, and you can look at the team. We're very diverse. Our entire team is diverse. So if we can all come together for a common cause and a common goal, then who's to say that the rest of us can't come together, right?
Exactly. I think that's why I keep saying I talk to you, and you're not just going based on the word itself. You're actually encompassing it to make sure that your team is actually a good niche as a family, whether it be just a small group or a bigger group as it is. Now, coming up with the name, what made you decide to say Top Tier? Like, what was the thinking process behind it? Saying, you know what, it's not going to be elite because there's a lot of elite. where
Yes.
is a lot of leagues, a lot of elite clubs, but you're like, no, I'm gonna be different and make it call ourselves top tier. Like, what was the thinking behind that?
Well, we knew we wanted to do everything that we do for the program. We wanted to be top quality, top notch. We
Mm-hmm.
knew that. So the word top was coming up a lot, top
Mm-hmm.
quality, top notch training. Um, so once we were thinking along those lines, I mean, I can't lie. Elite definitely came up. But because there's so many other programs with elite
Yes.
in it, we knew that we want to be top quality, like I said, top quality. And then when we came up with the word, or when we came up with the name top tier, we figured that if there is a tier of programs, being
Mm-hmm.
as 1, 2, and 3, we would want to
Yeah.
be that top tier, and we will be that top tier. So as soon as we started talking like that and brainstorming, the name stuck. And then yeah, that's pretty much how. I mean, I definitely have to credit Ashley because she was throwing a lot of words at me that day. So I definitely have to credit Mama Schley. But
Yeah.
yeah, once we said top tier and we knew that's what we were trying to do for the program, everything top quality, everything top class, the name stuck, and it was uh,
It's
it was written.
it's a good game.
Thank
It's a good game. I mean, like it sticks out. It's different, and even your color code, the gold with it, with the crown, and like it's just it stands out. And everything else that you're doing encompasses that, and making sure that you have that positive mentality, not just the physical, but
no,
the mental and the social aspect of it. So kudos again
absolutely.
to
Thank you.
you. My next question, and it does get a little bit. I do ask a lot of type questions, so
That's
just
fine.
be
That's fine.
mindful.
I got nothing to
Um,
hide. You could ask my parents. I told them everything. No secrets here.
when it comes to sports
Yeah.
specifically, 'cause right now, after the Raptors won the championship, everybody was like, "Oh yes, Canada basketball, great, 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 we're this." But then it got to a point. It was like, okay, now we're stable, and there's, the government funding go mainly towards certain aspects of the sport, and basketball is seen as a different way. And of course, Raptors are not doing the greatest, so
Yeah.
it's not helping
Yeah.
with getting say, hey, we exist, the good sports. Like,
Yeah.
we're just like hockey or whatever. You know what I
Hockey.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, within the basketball community, within yourselves or league to league, how is it that if it does exist, that you communicate with each other to make sure that there is no negative back and forth, which I honestly, to be honest, I haven't seen any, but I've seen it on the state side, which is not good.
Yeah.
But as being Canadian, we get very nice and open and things like that. But when it comes to the sports aspects of it and keeping the kids engaged and making sure that parents are aware and say, hey, my club is good, but if you're not interested, you can go to this club. What's some of the open dialogues that you put to yourself and say, yes, I want to grow my league, I want to grow my organization, but if you want to leave and go somewhere else, I can recommend you here. Like, what are some of the things that goes through in your mind and making sure that you're always thinking of that athlete and not so much of the bottom line, because the
Yeah.
support from outside coming in, so you got to do the grassroots works yourself.
Absolutely. Well, the way I look at it is everything starts with the athletes. Everything starts with the kids. If they're happy, the program will thrive, plain and simple. So everything starts with them. You want to make sure that not only are they developing within the sport of basketball, but you're teaching them life lessons along the way. And the importance of it, the importance of the things that we're doing. I basically make the kids aware of everything. I let them know, like, hey, most important thing is having fun. I don't put a lot of pressure on the kids. Remember, they're very young. What I try to do a lot is I try to remember the times and try to put myself back in my shoes when I was their age.
Yeah.
Was there a lot on my mind? Was I concerned with a lot of things that were happening in the world? No, I wasn't. I was outside, I was playing, I had no cares in the world. So I try to create that same atmosphere for the kids when they come into the gym. I always remind them that, hey guys, the most important thing is having fun. If I ever see one of my kids on the bench upset, I always go up to them and I say, hey, what's the main reason why we're here? Why did we come together in the first place? So that way we can interact with our peers and have a great time. And it's reflected in the development. When the kids are having a great time, they develop exponentially. It's a lot, the development is a lot quicker. So my main focus kids.
Vaughan City Basketball. Shout out to you guys. Thank you. And they agree with you saying, yes, keeping it fun is key, which is
Absolutely.
true.
Absolutely.
Even though you may have the top tier elite mentality, you're still breaking it down to the fundamentals, which is the fun aspect of it. Because, like you
Absolutely.
said, you're young. And I think what question I always ask any parents is like, what if your child, how do you decide to make sure your child is continuing, especially after this lockdown? What if they're saying no longer, I don't want to go to it? How do you ensure that it's something that they still want for health purposes and not just for the NBA purposes, right? So me as a parent, I reach out to you, say, hey, our little one, he still likes it, but he's not so sure. Like, what would you say to me to say, you know what, if you bring him, it's okay. Let's just try and keep it fun or
Yeah.
what? Like, what's something that you can do? Because the feelings are different between
Oh,
parents and athletes sometimes, right? And sometimes I want them to live my dream that I couldn't do versus
yeah. I see a lot of
too
that.
much
I've seen a
challenge.
lot of that. You
Yeah.
know.
So how do
Well,
you tackle that?
Well, one thing with Toronto Top Tier, what we like to do is we although we do absolutely focus on the basketball portion of things and the on court portion of things, but we also introduce the kids to um, everything surrounding basketball. So, for example, when I was younger, I wanted to make it to the NBA. I thought I was going to go to the NBA, and when I realized first of all, I wasn't tall enough to go to the NBA, so I knew that
You
there
can
was
be
no
a
chance.
guard, a point
once I
guard.
realized, once I realized it's less than likely that I'm going to make it to the NBA, I was kind of crushed, and I love the sport, so I still wanted to be around it. And I think
Mm-hmm.
kids don't know that even if you're not going to make it to the NBA, you can still be around the sport. You can
Can
be
you
you
can
can
you
be a
just repeat
comment.
that again? Can you just
Pardon me?
repeat that? I'll just hashtag that.
No, yeah, but I don't think a lot of parents realize that as well. Like you love
Yeah.
the sport, I love the sport, and look what I'm doing now. I'm coaching now. I'm the director of my own program. I'm still around the sport, so I want to let kids
Mm-hmm.
know that hey, even if you don't make it to the NBA, you could still be around. You could even still be around the NBA. You can be
Yep.
a commentator. You could be a sports agent, and we
Yeah.
actually. Showcase these things within Toronto Top Tier. We make the kids aware of these things. We give them lots
Right.
of options that pertain to the sport, right? And I
Yeah.
think that excites them as well. So if you have a child, maybe they're not, well, we've had kids that, because again, we do have a top quality. We do have really, really talented kids within our organization. So when we have new kids enter the organization, sometimes they're a little bit overwhelmed by the training, and sometimes they're a
Mm-hmm.
little intimidated by the kids that are already there, seeing as how they're actually really good. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I just remind them, hey, we're all friends, and these guys are here to help you get better. And if the kids fall off and they're not so much interested in playing the sport, but they still love it, again, we give them the other options. Hey, you can be a sports um, uh,
Be a scorekeeper.
an
You could be the
analyst.
analyst.
Yeah,
You
you can
could
be an
be
analyst. You can be a referee. You
a
can,
coach. Yeah.
and the kids don't, and a lot of kids, they don't know about that. They think it's NBA or nothing, right? But that's
Yes.
absolutely not the case. You could even play in other countries. I mean, CBA in China is huge now. So if you don't make it
Yep.
in the NBA, maybe you're good enough to go play in China. You're still around the sport, right? We just make sure that the
Yep.
kids know all of their options, and it's not just NBA or nothing.
Exactly. And even within Canada, there's a CEBL that's
Yeah,
they're going into their second or third year, I believe. There's Europe, there's
yeah.
college, there's
College,
university.
exactly. Yeah,
So the way I see it is like the road to the NBA is like a group of ants going in, and it's like they're all going like this, but only one can just get through. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. It's
To
exactly
make
what
sure
it
that
is.
you can diverge to the left, right, and still be okay. And there can only be one or two, and that's fine. But I
Yeah,
think what you're saying makes sense. And again, someone, Bond City Basketball also said, remember, most of these kids will be coaches, and we as coaches are on stage teaching them how to mentor. And that's true. That's a critical point.
absolutely, absolutely.
It's so true because what they see, they will emulate that. If you're like you say, you were not tall enough, but let's say your coach was able to tell you, you know what, Andrew, even if you're not, you can take the point guard position. Point guards are often like the captains or the leaders, right? They may not have
Exactly.
to take all the rebounding, but they're right there telling you when to go in. rebound,
Exactly.
when to go, which position to be and pass the ball. And in every sport, there's always that leading aspect of it. So it's not so
Absolutely.
much even about the win, but I guess the mental game aspect of it. So that's great. And Ashley, of course, agrees. She's saying amen, clapping. Thank you. Yeah, everybody's agreeing with you. Like sports reporters is one option that you can definitely also end up being, which I think is, there's the options out there is great. But from your from your organization perspective, I think you're doing a good job starting off as early as what, 5 years old? I think your age
Yeah.
starts.
Yeah, 5 years
Right?
old. If it wasn't for the pandemic, if it wasn't for this lockdown, we would have already launched a program that we're going to start, which is our top tier tykes, which starts as
Okay.
young as 5 years old. So unfortunately, we're unable to start right now. But as soon as the lockdowns lifts, we'll get all those things in order.
Okay, great. And where exactly do you normally do your training?
Currently, we're normally in the Etobicoke area, Mississauga area. But
Okay.
again, like I said, we've actually been doing some training in York because York had opened up before Peel. So we
Yeah,
went out to York and we did some training in York. So honestly, we're willing to, again, we're willing to go wherever it will have us, wherever we could train. We're
I
definitely willing to
agree.
go. If there's kids
And
that want to play in those areas and they want to work with Toronto top tier, we'll go there. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. And with also the travel aspect of it too, I mean, for us as parents, as long as you're out there doing something, we're good. Like we will drive you, we will drop you
Yeah.
there, we will make sure that you're being active and doing what you can to still be part of the sport, but also being physically active. Because as we said earlier, being home, having this timeout has different effects on so many different people.
It does. It
You can
does.
either really lose the weight or you can really triple the weight. And in some cases, I guess I've triple, everybody's been tripling it. So it makes it harder. Um, so and you already talked about your future or the future plans coming in there. Would you also be repeating the kind of the thing like the tournament that you had in the fall post COVID, or based on how all the protocols or government rules are? Is there any plans to host another tournament like that in the future?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We're looking to do that annually. It's going to be an annual tournament, Battle in
Great.
the Six. We're going to do it every single year. I mean, the
Yeah.
teams that won, they have to come and defend their championship, right? So we're going to do
True.
it every year, every
True.
single year. Yeah,
True. Give them that bragging rights and see if they're still king of the courts or what, right?
exactly,
Just to come
exactly.
in.
We had some parents play in the 3-point shootout, so those parents have to come and they got to defend their title as well, right? So
Yes, Coach Hannah. Yes, I remember. She was good. She was
yeah.
good. She did a really good job on that. So I definitely will not be doing. I'll just be cheering from the side as I always
Nah,
do.
you got to join. You got to join.
Yeah, no, you know your levels. You know where you're at, and I'm just a cheer one. I'll just yell and scream and trash talk and see if I can distract people.
That's fun too. That works.
Okay. You also did recently during the month of March for Women's History Month. You did a beautiful tribute to the female athletes. Would you like to talk a little bit more about that as well?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like Ashley and I have been talking about it for a while, and it was just funny how when we solidified everything, it was in the month of March, which happened to be my birthday and International Women's Month, so it worked out beautifully. Ashley
Correct.
came up with all the logistics, her and some friends. They created the T-shirts. They created the program and how it would run for the day, and they did an exceptional job. You know, it's something that we've been wanting to do for a while. We have some of the kids on our team. They have sisters that train with us and that work out with us, and we wanted to bring, you know, we wanted to bring more light to the fact that we would love to have more female basketball players, you know,
Yeah.
and we would
Yeah.
love to have an all-female team, you know,
Yeah.
and in order for us to do that, because there's not so much focus, in order for us to do that, we wanted to, you know, create this Female Ballers Unite for the month of March, bring some light to that, and hopefully carry on the
Mhm.
trend moving forward and get a girls team going, and maybe even just do some all girls training And the thing I want to make clear is this is not an all boys program. So when we do training, it's for everyone. Everyone is welcome
Okay.
to join. Yeah, boys, girls, everyone is welcome to join. We just felt like we needed to bring the females to the forefront on International Women's Month to let them know that, hey, we are definitely interested in having you guys play basketball. I mean, did you watch March Madness?
Yeah,
Women's March Madness was unreal, right? So
it was
we need
awesome.
more female ballers.
It was awesome. It was, I think, being the COVID exactly also brought a good way for everybody to see that the WNBA didn't just start last year. They've been around
Exactly.
20 plus years.
Exactly.
The NCAA March Madness has always been the male side of it. You know, everybody do the pool. The pool is always for the male teams,
Yeah.
never really for the female team. So I always wondered that. I was like, why is that? But this year I think has been amazing. Again, to social media, it brought more visibility to all the different individuals, especially some of the Canadian athletes that are down there as well too,
Yeah.
representing Canada and doing their thing, which is also amazing.
Yeah.
With that, and I actually, from your side of it, I think it would be good, like you're saying, trying to get the female to join or to create a female hub aspect of it. Now, would you ever want to do also a co-ed aspect? Because some people be like, why does it have to be male versus female? Why can't we join together? Would that be something that you would be willing to, co-ed and have it, them pick their team and male,
Oh,
female, doesn't matter, just have them ball it out and go through a tournament?
absolutely. I mean, our program, technically our program is co-ed. The only problem is when you're entering tournaments, not a lot of the tournaments in the leagues are co-ed. So that's where there's a bit of an issue. Um,
Yeah.
but if we, I mean, there are some leagues that are co-ed, and we've played in co-ed leagues. So I mean, the more, if we can create a league, for example, Battle in the Six is co-ed.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
if we have more females enter Battle in the Six, maybe more leagues would be inclined to have co-ed leagues as opposed to just boys one side, girls on the other side.
Yes.
I think it
Yes.
would be excellent. I mean, I think it would be great competition. I would
I
love to
agree.
see it. Yeah, I would love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, because I recently did a feature of a couple of really good female athletes here within Toronto, and the turnout was awesome. And I do get questions every now and then. Hey, I have a 10-year-old. I'm looking. I have this. I want female. I want them to join. And it's so limited with different leagues, and I get it, and they can come and join. But when you go to tournament, so maybe the shout out or the request is all the organizers and the tournaments and the
Yeah,
league makers, add in the co-ed aspect of it, add an all-female aspect of it. I mean, it's not just the male. I have boys, so I'm not biased to it.
yeah,
But I think also it's nice to have a good mixture because it's a sport, right? And it's nice to see that
absolutely.
competition. And if anything, with all that happened with NCAA and the women one, uh, if that doesn't tell you that females belong, on the court as much as the males, like I don't know. I don't
I
know.
don't I don't think that's even something that people are going to be saying moving forward. I mean, we were tuned in to the women's NCAA. It was great. It was amazing. I'll be honest with you. Um, we enjoyed it more than the men's side of things, but it was excellent. So
Yeah.
I think moving forward, I think this is only going to be it's only going to be progress to push women to the forefront of the sport. So I think it's excellent.
I agree. And for the Canadian side of it too, because one part I think I was messaging with Ashley once, it's like, it would be nice to even have the Canadian universities and the colleges also encompass not even just the male, but also the female side of it too, and give
Oh,
them
for
more
sure.
visibility and push them forward and provide that support, let them still keep playing, not
Yeah.
just only hockey.
No,
or
absolutely. It's funny you said that, and it's funny that you brought up the Canadian aspect of it because coming into creating our own program, I always looked at it like we're having a civil war in Canada. We're all playing each other. We never really take our powerhouse teams to the States and dominate in the States, and that's something that we
Mhm.
want to do at Toronto Top Tier. We want to create top tier basketball teams, whether it's
Mhm.
co-ed, whether it's all girls, whether it's all boys, and we want to take our talents to the States. We're tired
Yep.
of those guys always thinking that they're better than us at basketball. So
Yeah.
we want to take our talents over there, and we don't want a civil war anymore. We don't want to play Montreal. We want to play Ohio. We want to play
Yeah.
those teams in the States and show them what's up. We want to play Kentucky. We want to
Yeah.
go and we want to play in the major tournaments there and dominate.
And have them come here and actually get to see that it's not always just snow, right?
Exactly.
Here, compete here at the highest level as well too. And part of it is I'm hoping, especially with the CBL, is for the media to also pick up on it,
Yeah,
and not just only report to us what's going down the south with the one or two top tier Canadian athletes there, but also turn the eyes here and
I,
see, that the talent is just as good here. You can still stay here and still grow here and be good here, right?
absolutely. That. You know what? That's a great idea, and hopefully, um, if we continue to show all the kids other avenues in terms of still being around the sport, if you're not going to play the sport, who knows? Maybe kids over here will create a brand new media team that will focus on the CBL and blow the
Yep.
CBL up to where it needs to be. Right?
Yep.
You never know.
Yep. Yep. I
You
agree.
know,
And as Ashley said, put some respect on our name. I agree. That's 100%. That's where you do the fire emojis, like that's true because
yeah.
the talent is here. And like you said, you're all doing all these grassroots works right from the beginning with teaching the students about self-awareness, social awareness, physical, everything. And the love of the game is still there. So why not continue all the way till wherever? Why is it I think it falls off as they sort of, oh, thanks for the fire emoji, Vaughan City Basketball. I sort of, it filters off once they pass high school or pass university or college. Being a top tier from beginning to the end it's a journey. So
Yeah.
I think what you're doing is amazing because it's also bringing the forefront and letting everyone know that, hey, we have the talent here. Starting as early as 5, you identified it. Why not cultivate them and let them grow to the end? Because what if they never want to cross the border? That's fine,
Yeah,
right? The
exactly.
question I raise is why can't they cross the border and come here?
It's gonna get to that point. It'll get to the point where we'll go over there a bit, we'll dominate, and then we'll just come over here and relax in Canada, and it'll be up to them to come over here and challenge us.
Yeah.
I remember actually
Actually, go
our
ahead.
first year when we traveled to the States, I had a team, all 9, 10-year-olds. And I remember everybody saying, "Oh, you guys got to go to the States. Take your time to the States. The best basketball players in the States." When we got there, we played in our division, and the kids on our team were literally the best kids in the entire tournament. They had the most talent in the entire tournament. So when I came back to Canada, and I still hear people saying, the talent's in the States, and I was like, no, it's not. You guys have no idea. We have we have the best talent, the best basketball players in North America, hands down. I'm certain. There's no doubt.
I agree. But what do you think is some of the things that's sort of lacking or missing in the gap that we can still continue to push together and get, the more visibility to it? So it's not just so much waiting for that one person to make it over there and be like, oh yeah, they're representing Canada, which is awesome. But what's the one thing that we can do, even as early as 5 years old, as early as 7 or 8 or 10, that we as parents or even as a company, as leagues, organizations can keep doing to keep the conversation going for the talents here in Canada?
Well, one thing I noticed is what happens is when you go to the States and you travel to the States and you have talent, they find ways to entice the parents to play in the States.
Scout.
Yeah. A lot of scouting going on. And the thing is that, a lot of NBA players, a lot of American NBA players, they sponsor a lot of these teams, which garnishes a lot of attention, which makes it very attractive for parents to want their children to play on their teams, on their respective teams, especially if they have like real hoop dreams of their child making it to the NBA. It's very difficult for an organization to compete with another organization that has an NBA figure attached to it.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the talent speaks for itself. If you have a good team, it doesn't matter
Mhm.
if LeBron James co-signed a team in the States. If they're not as good as our team and we beat that team,
Yeah.
our game speaks for itself. So I think, I would love to challenge the Canadian players. And I think that a lot of because we do have a lot of Canadian players in the NBA right now, I think that they should start coming back to Canada, coming back to their roots, and creating, and not necessarily creating organizations, but maybe partnering with organizations to
Yeah.
bring that attention to those organizations. That way, parents will be inclined to have their kids stay here,
Here.
where it all started, rather than attaching themselves to a name in America.
I agree. I agree. And with that being said, like for today, we got announced that Ken Birch might be coming to Toronto. He's a
Yeah,
Canadian player, so it's a beautiful thing to welcome, another homegrown talent coming back and playing with the homegrown, our only team that represents the whole NBA. It's a
exactly,
great thing. You made a
exactly.
good point that for them to return back
Yeah,
here, whether during their summer times or their retirement, and develop it here. So it's true because a lot of the stuff that I see, they're sponsored by former
yeah,
NBA, former this, former that, and their name is
exactly.
just a signature at the bottom. Meanwhile, it's Uncle Bill that's going to be hosting the game when you get there, right?
Yeah,
And that
exactly.
person will just show face for like 2 seconds and go away. But are they really looking at your kid and their talent? Not really,
Exactly.
right? If
Exactly. Yeah.
you're but if you're home here and they have access to you, they can definitely see how good you are
Mhm.
and have that accessibility to travel. You don't have to worry about COVID now because you can just travel within
It,
the province, right?
exactly.
Without having
Exactly.
issues with it. So
Exactly.
that's a good point. And I think that's something that I'm hoping some of the other leagues can take on and continue to do that and throw it out there to all their contacts, their former players, former professional, former European players are coming back, is put the support here as well too. Let the kids here know
Absolutely.
that you can still make it here. It doesn't always necessarily mean you have to go outside because you can get injured, you can get hurt, anything can
Yeah.
happen. Contracts can fall through, anything, right?
Exactly.
But if you can still support it here, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Towards the end, because when we do Instagram, it only gives you 1 hour. So I always try to make sure I give a little bit more time.
Mhm.
We talk business, we got to know you a bit as well. Is there anything else from Top Tier Toronto that you would like to bring it out for anyone that was watching this that can say, I want to reach out to you, or something you want to put out so that everybody could be aware of to connect with you and your organization?
Well, we're always working. We're always looking to build the brand and grow Toronto Top Tier. The website is going to be releasing within by the end of the month. We'll be finished the website. Anybody you can always reach out to my personal Instagram, or you can reach out to Toronto Top Tier Instagram. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we're actually pretty good at responding. I have to give the credit to Ashley because she responds within 2 minutes. She's an exceptional responder.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and I have, if parents want to talk to me, I'm kind of old school. I like to have phone conversations. I'm sorry, it might be a little bit corny. I would rather have
It's
phone
fine.
conversations than text. So if anybody's interested in anything that has to do with Toronto Top Tier, anything surrounding Toronto Top Tier, or anything that we discussed today, feel free to send us a message on IG. You can leave your phone number if you want to have a phone conversation. We're always willing to do that as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and you know what, Ashley, I'm gonna add that to your title, exceptional responder. She's gonna be added to the bio or her job description, exceptional
I'm gonna
responder. I
put it in
like
her
that.
bio.
I like that. I like that. And now just Vaughn City says teams and coaches need to collaborate and talk to each other. Yes,
I,
that's like 1,000%.
I agree with
Um,
that. Absolutely. I actually just
yeah.
want to say one other thing. Based on everything that we spoke of, based on the things that I said, if there are any coaches out there, any teams or organizations out there that share the same ideas as Toronto Top Tier, let's
Hmm.
collaborate. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
We're all from the same place. I'm done with the Civil War. Like I said, let's collaborate. Let's take our talents to the States and let's dominate and let's create a basketball forefront in Canada here.
Yeah.
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
I agree. I agree. And you know what? I'll actually connect you to another person that has the same mentality as well too.
Good. Okay.
So that we can take Canada to the next level and make it more top. You know, you can go higher than top, but why not? Even at your height, don't worry about it. You can still be a point guard and direct people and tell them where to go, right?
Yeah, yeah. You know,
Go
I could be a point guard in the co-ed league, the men's league. Maybe not the NBA, but that's okay. I'm good. I'm good still playing house league. I'm happy playing house
You're doing awesome. You're doing
league.
awesome. And varsity basketball, definitely. I'll connect the two of you and you can start a conversation there. And you know what? Collaboration, I think together. I always say we all rise together when we support each other. And that's one way that we can get to the highest level that we all want to aim to get to and not have to tear each other down. So awesome.
Absolutely.
Now, one or two last questions just
Sure,
to ease it up if you haven't already been loosened up a bit.
yeah.
If you have one, just one superpower, what would it be?
If I had one superpower, it would probably be to be able to speak every language in the world. And
Okay.
the reason is because I'd be able to communicate with everybody and get to everybody and, you know, and talk and have conversations where we can build and grow together. The language
Nice.
barrier a lot of the times is a problem, right? So
Yeah.
if I could speak every language, that would be the superpower for me,
How
definitely.
many do you speak now?
Uh, I maybe just English. My background is my father's from Trinidad, my mother's from Portugal, so I understand
Okay.
Portuguese, but I don't speak it. So
Okay.
English for me.
Okay. That's one, better than none, right? So
It's
that's
better
okay.
than none. It's better than none.
And although we've been time out for 500 years now,
Yeah.
what is the one thing that you've recently done for yourself, just for you?
That's a tough one. Honestly, I've been doing a lot for everybody else lately. I haven't really been doing too much for myself. Geez, what have I done for myself? You know what? It wasn't just for myself, but the wife and I, we like to take like mini vacations, you know, and spend some time together. So we did that recently. That was one thing I did. I mean, actually, the other day I was able to play some PlayStation 4 for about 15 minutes. So
Oh,
that was pretty cool. But
that's
that's
the
about it.
15. Okay.
I'm usually just doing things with my kids and with Ashley. So never really
Yeah.
just myself.
Yeah, that's good. Wow. Spoken like a husband, like a dad, as a coach, as a player. I wanted to say thank you so much. Oh, she says 15 minutes. Yeah, LOL. Okay, yeah, wink, wink. Don't worry. I get it, Ashley. I wanted to thank you so much, Drew.
Thank you
I'm
for
so
having
grateful
me.
that you're able to share what the amazing things that Toronto Top here is doing and will continue to do, especially for the basketball community here in Toronto, Canada, and beyond.
Absolutely.
And I will make sure to tag it to anyone else that's looking to connect with you. And again, what we said is collaboration is awesome, and that's the only way we can all rise to the top.
Thank you
No
so
pun
much. Thank you.
intended.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes,
This is the
thank
start. And everybody, this is a perfect example of collaboration. I love what you're doing. I appreciate you. And I thank you
you.
so much for having me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you everyone for tuning in as well too. Um, Stay tuned for my next one. Thank you, Ashley, for being so collaborative and very active on the chat. I appreciate you as well too. And I will definitely touch base again so we can maybe have a mom's competition or something. I don't know. But
That's a good idea.
yeah, we'll see. Oh yes, and thanks Samantha. She joined it as well too. You're all being very beautiful and let's talk more. Thank
Sounds good.
you.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Bye
All right. Bye.
bye.